I grew up on welfare, and when I would go to the grocery store or some of the other things, and just, the food stamps back in the day, it was like monopoly money, so you stood out. And as I grew up, I started to see and realize that we're all going to need help somewhere, and how can you help someone and not make them feel so little? And social worker, and social work was the profession for me that I felt I could be an advocate for people, but also show that individuals who need help can receive help and still maintain their dignity and their humanity. Again, you don't have the monopoly money, or you don't get the big cans of peanut butter or macaroni and cheese or cheese. So that's what really led me into it. Well, I was thinking about that question. It's really been a part of a group. We established a basketball league in South Euclid-Lyndhurst, and it's an opportunity to give back to the community. And it's something that may not receive a lot of accolades in a larger community. It's just a youth basketball organization, but it's an opportunity to coach young men. It's an opportunity to mentor young men and really be a role model. So that's one of my proudest accomplishments. Being a father is another one, and that's an accomplishment that I get to live every day, and understanding what it is to set an example for my son and my daughter, even though she's an adult. That's another accomplishment. And being a faculty member here, because this is a challenging environment, and it was one that I had to come into really back in 1993 with not a lot of experience, and jumping in really with very accomplished people and showing them that I could do and compete and contribute just as well as they could. So those are some of the things. For me, the person is my grandmother. As a child, my grandmother talked about Cleveland out of her experiences as a child and having family members arriving in Cleveland, and it was a place that African Americans could really flourish in. And I never thought about coming to Cleveland at all until early 1990s. But she often said to me, you can do anything that you set your mind to. And I often kept that in the back of my thoughts as I tried various things as I grew up. So she served as that really first mentor. And I still have mentors today that I look to and think back to what they told me, whether it was Dr. Dunmore, who was at Pittsburgh, or James Herbert Williams, who's the dean in Denver. People I can pick up a phone and call and say, I'm going through this situation. I have, as a political mentor, is the Congressman Louis Stokes. He's been someone I can pick up and ask, how do I handle this situation? What do I do when this happens? How should I go about this? How should I respond? So I have a number of mentors, and I still seek them out because there are people who've been along the road that I can still learn from. And then hopefully I can turn those messages around to others. Another good question, and many events, and I settled on really not too long ago, my first plane ride. Because growing up in a little small town in North Carolina, we went everywhere by car or bus. And I think my first plane ride was about 19 or 20 years old, and it was just amazing to that mode of travel for me. And since then, I'm capable of flying anywhere in the world. As I was saying as we were getting ready, the TSA and all of the treatment I experienced there. So I've learned, but it really showed me that there was a much broader world than Reidsville, North Carolina, than Greensboro. It was just so much space and area in this world that we could cover. And that mode of travel is something that I enjoy, and if I could go back and relive that again, I would. And just think about, okay, I'm going to get to do this a lot somewhere in my future.